Next Generation Large Telescope Site. First paragraph in that section. Second sentence, beginning with a ground-based telescope with a mirror of 25 to 50 meters in diameter is being considered by the astronomy community, which would complement the planned next generational space telescope. Is that correctly stated as such?
I believe so, yes.
What is the diameter size of the mirror of the proposed 30-meter telescope?
30 meters.
Thus, would the TMT be considered as a Type 4 Next Generation Large Telescope NGLT as noted in this master plan?
It would fall into that category.
So now I'm going to go to figure Roman numeral 9-16, which is on page Roman numeral 28, Roman numeral 9-28 of the Mauna Kea Science Reserve Master Plan. Can you see that figure?
Yes.
Okay. In figure Roman numeral 9-16, does the arrow with the caption SMEA expansion and NGLT, can you see it at the top of the
yes.
figure?
That's pointing to area E.
Okay, area E. Thank you. Is area E the site of the proposed TMT site?
It is.
In this same figure, Roman numeral 9-16, in the section below, potential new observatories, does it show a proposed NGLT dome?
It does.
Is the NGLT dome design height lower in height?
In the figure on this page from the master plan, it is lower in height.
Okay. Looking at in the box next to this section under redevelop existing facilities, is there a diagram for the existing CFHT observatory?
Yes.
In comparing this diagram with the diagram of the NGLT, is the NGLT design smaller in height than the existing CFHT observatory?
The NGLT design considered in the 2000 master plan is shorter.
Okay. So going back to the FEIS, was this particular NGLT dome design as shown in figure Roman numeral 9-16 on page Roman numeral 9-28 considered in the TMT FEIS?
It was on page 3-156 of Exhibit A3. There's a discussion of the TMT Observatory and Access Way and how the TMT Observatory design differs from the NGLT described in the 2000 master plan.
And was this design considered as one of the alternatives to what's being proposed in the TMT Observatory design as today?
It says here on the page I just referenced, there are a number of reasons why this design was considered not reasonable to the TMT Observatory Corporation. The 2000 master plan suggested that half the NGLT observatory be above grade and shaped and colored to simulate a pu'u. Because the TMT Observatory's primary mirror will be located above ground, the shape of the above ground enclosure could not be made to be shaped like a pu'u unless it covered a much larger area. And the reasons that it was not placed underground include that a significantly larger volume of rock would need to be excavated in order to place it underground. And there are other reasons listed here too.
So if you take a look at figure Roman numeral 9-21, page Roman numeral 9-38 of the sections that I gave to you, of the pages that I gave to you.
Can you say the number again?
So going back to figure Roman numeral 9-21, page Roman numeral 9-38. So
is that the right one?
Yes, thank you. So it's noted in its master plan and is designed as such. What was being proposed in the master plan at that time for the next generation large telescope was to have a telescope designed as such. Is that correct?
That's what it appears.
And in this design, it's shaped similar to a pu'u or a heel. Is that correct?
That's how it describes it.
And the color of the design of this proposed NGLT would be a similar color to the landscape. Is that what's been proposed in this figure?
That was what was considered in the 2000 master plan.
Would it have reduced the visual impact upon the northern plateau of this project?
Probably.
Okay. In what ways would it have reduced the visual impact?
I don't know exactly. I didn't analyze the visual impact of the design shown in the 2000 master plan.
Going back to figure 9-16, would it have been lower in height than the existing telescopes being proposed?
Well, there's not really, now that I look at this more carefully, there's not really any scale shown vertically or horizontally in these depictions, so I can't be for sure.
Right. But based upon what's diagrammed here, and in a section right below it to the right-hand column, if you read below the box, it says elevations drawn to relative scale. Is that correct?
It is. I hadn't noticed that.
Okay, so based upon this notation that these elevations are drawn to relative scale, is the design, would the visual impact be reduced with this type of design for the NGLT?
Well, it would be shorter, but once again, I did not analyze the impacts of a design similar to the one shown here in the 2000 master plan, so I cannot say exactly what the impacts would be.
But did you clarify, did you analyze the impacts in the FEIS regarding this particular design?
No.
Why not?
It was not considered reasonable.
By who?
Well, I just told you some of the reasons are outlined on page 3-156 of Exhibit A3.
But who decided those were not reasonable?
That was established or deemed unreasonable by people that design observatories.
But in the FEIS, aren't you supposed to look at all various different alternatives?
We're supposed to look at reasonable alternatives.
So being that this design is in the master plan of 2010, isn't that a reasonable design to consider?
I don't know what kind of criteria they used in the 2000 master plan to evaluate whether it was reasonable, but in our evaluation, it was considered unreasonable.
The last paragraph on this page states, strict design guidelines will dictate the size and color of the NGLT. Is that correctly spoken as stated in this document?
Yes.
The next sentence goes on to say, the preliminary design concept proposed for the NGLT employs a unique sliding dome mirror enclosure with a subgrade foundation. Is that correctly stated as such?
Yes.
Did the TMT FEIS incorporate these strict design guidelines outlined in this master plan in its analysis?
The design of the TMT project is not similar in the regards to the shape of the dome.
Okay, thank you.
And those reasons are outlined, as I said, in page 3-156.
And so, based upon your knowledge, does the TMT Observatory employ a unique sliding dome mirror enclosure with a subgrade foundation?
Well, it employs a Calat style dome where the thing slides down inside the dome.
So, is your answer yes or no to that question?
It's similar. All foundations are subgrade, so it does include a subgrade foundation.
Okay, so let me break the question apart then. So it does include a subgrade foundation. Does a TMT Observatory employ a unique sliding dome mirror enclosure?
I don't know exactly what that phrase means. I've never seen an observatory that uses that, so I don't know if it is similar or not.
Okay, thank you. Was a TMT Observatory designed with this lower half of its observatory built below grade to minimize the apparent height and mass of the facility?
Well, it hasn't been built yet, but it is not designed that way.
Okay. Was a TMT Observatory designed with a dome shaped and colored to simulate a small pu'u to blend well with the surrounding landscape?
No.
If the shape and color of the TMT design was in compliance with these guidelines, could it have actually mitigated its adverse visual impacts?
As stated in the environmental impact statement, that it does not have a significant adverse effect as designed.
But I'm gonna halt you right there and go back to the question. In the shape and color of the design, in the shape and color of the TMT design, if the shape and color of the TMT design was in compliance with these guidelines, could it have actually mitigated its adverse visual impacts?
To some extent.
Okay, thank you. Did you review the design guidelines of the master plan on pages Roman numeral 11-4 to Roman numeral 7? Roman numeral 11-7. Let me rephrase for the court reporter. In preparing the FES, did you review the design guidelines of the master plan on pages Roman numeral 11-4 and Roman numeral 11-7? And I'm going to actually give you a copy of those. So once again, just for the record, a copy was given to Mr. Hayes from Exhibit A48 from the Mauna Kea Science Reserve Master Plan, pages Roman numeral 11-4 through Roman numeral 11-9. Do you have a copy with you?
Yes.
Okay, on the section on design guidelines, I'm going to ask that question again. Referring to these particular guidelines on pages Roman numeral 11-4 to Roman numeral 11-7. In preparing the FEIS, did you review the design guidelines of this master plan as noted as such?
Yes.
Okay. And looking at page Roman numeral 11-6, section under surfaces, textures, and materials. So looking at page 6, Roman numeral 11, page 6. Do you have that page?
Yes.
So under section surfaces, textures, and materials, it says surfaces, textures, and materials used for construction in the science reserve should seek to blend the facility into the landscape. Is that correctly as stated?
That's part of the section.
Yeah. Does a proposed TMT observatory blend the facilities into the landscape?
The support building is designed to be lava colored and blend into the landscape, along with the parking areas and other surrounding areas. The dome of the observatory was selected to be the non-metallic surface to better blend in with the natural or surroundings to the extent possible.
I'm going to question. You said it was a non-metallic surface?
Aluminum-like. If I misspoke, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I'm going to stop. Can I have the reporter provide the last answer to the question for clarity?
You want the answer to the question?
Yes.
Okay.
The support building is designed to be lava colored and blend into the landscape along with the parking areas and other surrounding areas. The dome of the observatory was selected to be non-metallic surface to better blend in with the natural surroundings to the extent possible.
Is that correct?
No, I misspoke. I should have said aluminum-like.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Hayes, could you please read the first bullet under this section here for us?
It says, as much as possible, surfaces should be non-reflective in the visible spectrum to minimize glare and visibility from distant areas.
And is this section on page Roman numeral 11-6
Yes.
of the master plan?
Yes.
Okay. Is the purpose of this design guideline to minimize glare and visibility from distant areas?
That's what it says, yes.
Is aluminum-like coating and surface of the TMT observatory dome non-reflective?
No.
Then it's, as stated, then it's not in compliance with the design guidelines of the master plan.
It's not in compliance with...
Did you understand the question, sir?
I think so.
You did or you did not understand the question?
I did.
And can you tell me why this is not argumentative, Mr. Flores?
Let me strike the question and rephrase it so that it's not in an argumentative format, if
All right,
that's
go ahead.
possible, and I'll try to do so.
Thank you.
Thank you. So is the aluminum-like coating of the surface of the TMT observatory dome reflective in nature?
Yes.
Okay. So reading that, so from the last bullet that you just read, is the TMT Observatory dome with its reflective nature in compliance with this first bullet
With the first bullet?
that you read? Yes.
The first bullet says should be non-reflective, so it is not.
Okay, thank you.